Welcome back to Long Way Home, everyone. Today we're tackling an interesting subject, something that you guys asked quite a bit in the 1250RT review, and that was, if you've got all of this money burning a hole in your pocket and you only want to do on-road long-distance touring, should you go for the RT or should you go for the GS? Both of them very similar bikes, but what does set them apart might be exactly what would sway you to go for the one instead of the other. So if this is an interesting topic to you, stick around while we explore a little bit of rural Romania as well. On a separate note, the Aussies over at Quadlock send over one of their systems. I'm busy testing it out now for the review video. If there's anything you want to know about the whole Quadlock ecosystem, put those questions in the comment section and I'll include them in the video as well. But before any of that, this episode is sponsored by Exter Wallet, the smart wallet, time-saving designs for smarter living. Stick around until the end of the episode to find out more. Now, I've done a review of the standard 1250GS, a review of the 1250GS Adventure, and of the 1250RT. I obviously own a GS, and there are quite a few differences between all three of them. There's a lot of traffic today. We need to find a more quieter road. But anyway, you're into long distance touring, you want to be comfortable, you've decided that you want to go either for the RT or the GS, but are very unsure which one. Let's start with the engine bit. Obviously exactly the same engine, the BMW's 1250 shift cam engine. Same 6-speed gearbox in both of them, same quick shifter, same shaft drive. I mean, listing all the stuff that's the same is going to take all day long. There is one difference with the engine between the two of them, and it's not necessarily with the engine itself. When I got on the RT, I noticed that it was a lot quieter than on the GS. On the GS, it really sometimes, like now, does sound like a little bit of a tractor, but the RT was a lot more elegant, and it took me a while to figure out why that was. It's very simple, actually. The RT's engine is a lot more fared than the GS's. The GS's is just plain open, there are no covers on it, there's nothing, you can see the cylinders. But on the RT, you can sort of see about 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters of the cam covers. The rest of it is nicely covered with plastic, so not a lot of that noise is gonna radiate back up. So that is one of the big differences. Take a right here. So that is one of the differences when it comes to the engine. Apart from that, identical. Switch gear, exactly the same, identical. BMW likes to keep the switch gear the same on pretty much all of their bikes, or most of them, not the scooters, even those I think. I think the most important difference between the GS and the RT is your seating position. That's it. The RT does have a lot of little creature comforts that are targeted purely towards on-road comfort for long distance touring, but the seating position I find to be the biggest difference between these two bikes. On the GS, I'm sitting with my back quite straight, very straight actually. My legs are a little bit arched, but not in any sort of sporty way, and the foot pegs are straight, which means that my heels are also straight when I put my feet down. On the RT, however, they've gone with a more sportier seating position. Your back is straight, but the angle that your knees are bent at is a lot steeper, and that means that you get a sportier sort of sitting position, which in my opinion, not really that great for long distance touring. And I know nobody says it, but when I tested it extensively, actually, I was expecting a lot more comfort out of it, especially on paved roads where, you know, it was designed to spend all of its time. But it wasn't like that, and I think this comes from the fact that the RT is shorter than the GS, quite a bit shorter than the GS, which means that the distance from your butt, that's on the seat, to your feet, which are on the foot pegs, is a lot less. meaning that you get a sportier sitting position. And you can clearly see that because the foot pegs on the RT are slanted at quite an angle, 30 degrees, 20 something degrees. I mean, it's quite a big angle when you look at it. So you're definitely meant to be sitting a bit more crouched on the RT, which again is I find it very weird. So sitting position, not overall comfort. I'm breaking up comfort into a bunch of different categories, but as far as seating position goes, for me the GS takes it. I've spent 12-hour days on the GS. I've never been uncomfortable once, not once. So yeah, not the same with the RT. Okay, but seating is not what comfort is all about. Wind protection plays quite a major role. You'll see on the GS I've gone here with the much bigger Wunderlich Marathon screen. The GS Adventure screen is bigger than the normal GS1, which is tiny. It does offer some wind protection, but I mean, you know, not a lot. But even with the Wunderlich one over here, which is a lot larger in area, my shoulders are not protected pretty much at all. But it does do a good job of protecting my head up to about eye level. On the RT, you're in your own bubble of calm the moment you put that windscreen down. And here's a bit of off-road. As a fun fact, if you find yourself with the RT on one of these unpaved roads and it's the only option for you, go for it. It's fine. It's not going to break. There's no problem with it. Just, you know, take it slower. Alright, the off-road bit is finished. For this year, the RT got updated with that beautiful 10 and a half I think it is inch screen. Not touch screen, but it's got the navigation in it as well. It is amazing. I loved it. Nothing about that has been said about it making it over to the GS. It will most probably make it over, but I wouldn't keep my fingers crossed for this year. They'll need to redesign some elements there because it's physically not going to fit anywhere. So as far as the navigation is concerned, on the GS we're stuck with either BMW's nav unit or good old trusty phone. As far as the mirrors are concerned, the ones on the RT you can see more in them. They've got a lot more real estate, but I don't like the fact that they're low down at all. Maybe you have to get used to that, looking down all the time, but that just means taking your eye off the road while you're looking in the mirrors. On the GS, they're very high up. You just glance a little bit. You're not really taking your eyes off the road. There's a lot of that peripheral vision that you can still see what's going on the road. But great mirrors nonetheless for both of them. The audio system on the RT, those huge speakers on the side, that's also been updated for 2021. It is very loud, it is quite clear, but all of that is up until about 120 kilometers per hour. After that, it becomes completely useless. So if you do a lot of highway miles, don't expect that system to keep you entertained. It might as well spend your money somewhere else. The RT has also got quite a bit of gear that is very tailored towards on-road riding and city riding. Central locking, that's a very useful little gadget over there. You've got the side cases that open laterally because of reasons, but those are centrally locked. You've got two little cubby holes on each side. One of them has a wireless phone charger in it. Those also lock at the press of a button, so that was a very handy feature for city riding especially. Just hop off the bike to go into a shop. You don't have to sit and lock all your cubby holes and everything. Just press a button and that's it, it's locked. Up until this year, the RT was the only one that came with a seated heat from the factory. That's no longer the case. The GS also has a seated heat now from BMW, which is good. And even though I think it's about a 200 or 300 euro add-on, it's a lot cheaper than any aftermarket quality seat that you can get for the GS. So Well done on that, BMW. The lights, the old RT came with very, very good lighting solution, but it was based on a xenon bulb, and it had a little gyroscope kind of mechanism in there where you would basically have cornering lights because the horizon would stay the same. The new model now has gotten rid of the xenon light and is all LED, has kept the same gyroscope system, obviously a new updated one, but the lighting solution on the RT is hands down brilliant. The GS also has that now, a different implementation of it. I haven't tested it out, but there shouldn't be much of a difference between the two when it comes to riding at night, which, let's be honest, inevitably you'll be riding at night sometime. But as a sort of conclusion, I think the main differences between the two of them I can narrow down to just two. One would be the seating position, more sportier on the RT and more touring adventure-ish on the GS. I know this is weird to say, but that's the way it is. And number two, the looks. The GS has a lot more rugged and naked look, a lot more utilitarian, while the RT is a lot more covered up, a lot more fared. So some people really don't stand how the GS looks like, fair enough. Some people don't stand how the RT looks like, so I guess each with their own preference. I like the looks of the RT, I really do, just the front part. I don't like the back part at all. But I think they're very sexy. They've got very straight lines. Those new DRL lights, I think those are beautiful. But I also like the look of the GS. And you know, I wish they just had a baby or something. Yeah, so that was the biggest surprise for me when riding the RT. That was how sporty the seating position actually was, and it makes no sense to me because sporty doesn't necessarily equal comfort, and the RT is marketed as a comfortable touring bike, and I was expecting a lot of touring comfort on it, more than on the GS. The GS is not marketed as an on-road touring machine. It's one of those universal soldiers. Yeah, it can do it all, but it's not going to do it perfectly. While on the RT, I was expecting exactly the opposite. It's an on-road touring machine. I was expecting it to be a perfectly comfortable long-distance on-road touring machine, and I didn't get that. I didn't get that because it forced me to sit in that in a sportier riding position than I wanted. And it's not just the problem with the feet as well. I felt my arms were also too low down, and I was pushing my body weight a lot more on my arms than I wanted to, and they would start hurting after a couple of hours. It wasn't what I was expecting when you think about touring comfort on long distances. So yeah, take it as you will. Don't take my word on it. Go to one of BMW's dealers and ride it for a couple of hours. See how it suits you. I think if you are a shorter person, I'm 5'11", 1.8 meters tall. I think if you're a shorter person, you'll get along with the RT a lot better than I did. And obviously, if you start modifying it with handlebar risers, aftermarket ones, obviously I don't think BMW makes any, then you'll be more comfortable in it. But that's not actually the point of it. The point of it was to be comfortable for long distances from the factory. Alright, that's it from me for today. If there's anything that I haven't covered, if there's anything else you'd like to know about the two, comment section below is the place for you. Exeter wallets offer you quick card access, every card you need right at your fingertips thanks to their quick and secure card mechanism. RFID protection, so your identity is safer than ever before. They are made out of premium durable leather, and the pièce de résistance worldwide tracking. Never lose your wallet again. Never spend 20 minutes when you're almost out of the front door trying to find a wallet that wants to play hide and seek. The tracker is solar powered, 2 hours of sunlight gives you up to 3 months of charge, is trackable worldwide, and you can also call it using your phone. Check out the affiliate link in the description below for more info. Alright, if you've enjoyed the show, give it a big thumbs up, and if you think you've learned something new, consider subscribing or becoming one of our patrons to help us make more of these shows. Cheers, and I'll see you on the next one.